And as they say, the rest is history. Just a few months.
Hey, glad to have you with us for the final Bruce Hooley Show of the week. We'll be underway here momentarily. Just a little commercial break separating us from the start of the program. We actually have good news to start the program today, heartwarming news. And it's in the criminal realm, crime realm, which we talk about a lot here on the show because we have overwhelming crime in the city of Columbus and in Central Ohio. But this is a good story, a great story, and testimony to what outstanding police work looks like, and the relentless nature of a detective who wouldn't give up. So look forward to sharing that detail with you. Of course, we've got some other stuff that's not so great, but I hear the entry music and we're getting ready to go. So thanks for joining us, and we're off and running. We've led the Bruce Hooley Show many times with crime stories. We'll lead this Friday, March 7th edition of the Bruce Hooley Show off with a crime story, but this one is different, although we still have stories about juvenile crime in Columbus and stories about domestic crime in Columbus and a tragedy that put a 3-year-old in the hospital last night with a gunshot wound. We're going to start with something that is good and uplifting and inspirational. And it centers on a detective who was relentless in his work and who has, because of that determination to not give up on a case that was not just cold but frozen, a murder in 1992, a family's more than 3-decade nightmare is now over. This is the story of the 1992 murder of a woman by the name of Amy Hooper, who was found in her apartment, naked, bludgeoned, and stabbed to death on March 9th, 1992. It has now been solved, finally, thanks to the outstanding detective work of a gentleman by the name of Chuck Clark. The sister of Amy Hooper, her name is Sandy Green, said when she was called by Detective Clark to say that they had solved the case due to DNA evidence that was not available in 1992, she said, "I just sat down on the floor and just started crying tears of joy because I was very happy that we finally had it." And so they now have closure on this, and this is amazing. Here is the chief of detectives of Franklin County Sheriff's Office talking about the relentless nature of Chuck Clark not taking no for an answer, not being frustrated by continual dead ends, lack of leads, and all the other things that no doubt frustrated his investigation, but instead the determination within him to find the killer of Amy Hooper.
Once he got back into my division so that I could control what cases he could work on, I unleashed him again on cold cases because I knew that was his passion. I knew that's where you were going to get the most out of him. And since he came back, get out of his way. He's been relentless, and that's what brought us here today. It's his dedication. It's his devotion. A lot of stars up here. Nobody is on the level that this guy is in terms of commitment. And so, yeah, he deserves all the credit.
Well, that's fantastic. And police have taken a hit to their reputation because Democrats have magnified the very few incidents around the country that use of force was not justifiable, extremely few. Instead, stories like George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Jacob Blake, trying to remember the one from Atlanta where the guy was parked in a Wendy's and then grabbed a taser off a cop and the cop shot him. Those are the incidents that get publicity. This story, will the legacy media lead with it tonight at 6:30 on the national news? What do you think? Of course not. Of course not. Chuck Clark, a guy who cared so much about this case that he cried yesterday at the press conference, will not be celebrated, but he should be celebrated. He was asked his feelings yesterday. He said, "There were so many letdowns where I had to tell Green," that's the sister, "no, not yet. I had to tell her so many times. It's disheartening. But finally, I got to make that call. Yes, the one call that he longed to make, the one call that he was determined to make, the one call that drove him to pursue leads and solve this case. Here is the sister of the murder victim yesterday talking about her sister. He absolutely is a hero. So congratulations to Detective Chuck Clark. We hope his family now gets closure. And that's just phenomenal on every single level. That's phenomenal. This was a hard case to solve. There were no real appreciable leads, but they found some way. They found a suspect, 58-year-old Bruce Daniels. He's in custody, and they found him out in the state of Washington. So just awesome. I'd love to hear more about what led them to Daniels. And they captured an item Daniels discarded in the trash to capture DNA off of it, matched it to DNA at the scene. And that's how they made the arrest. Now, the other crime news in Columbus today is not nearly as uplifting. CPD is investigating the shooting of a 3-year-old boy last night in Blacklick. Well, last night, this morning, however you want to say it, 2 a.m. He is thankfully in stable condition at Nationwide Children's Hospital. They got the call to go to the scene. They found the boy had been shot at least one time. We don't know if he's shot more than once. The child's mother has been detained for questioning. Here's the oddity. They found no gun at the scene. So they show up. There's no gun. What does that tell you? It tells you the person who did the shooting took the gun with them and left. Apparently there's some belief that this was an accidental shooting, which would tell you that maybe there's somebody else there who was mishandling a gun or was, I don't know, fooling around with a gun. The 3-year-old got shot. So here's Detective Joe Albert, Columbus Police. He says, if you're the adult male, there was an adult male who left the scene. If you're the adult male who left the scene and you're seeing this, come back and do the right thing. If something happened and you were accidentally involved and you fired the shot that injured this little boy, do the right thing. This little boy did not deserve this. We shouldn't be out here right now talking about a 3-year-old child who's been struck by gunfire. So no, we shouldn't be. And you might surmise that, okay, if you're a guy, you accidentally, while mishandling your firearm, shoot a 3-year-old boy, I understand you can panic in the moment, but what is more likely? What's more likely is that the guy has outstanding criminal charges and can't afford to be caught, doesn't want to be caught. And so it'll depend upon the mother and whether she identifies, because she knows who this person is. It'll be incumbent upon her to identify this person and see if they can bring him to justice, if in fact there's any reason for justice. He fled the scene of a shooting, so he's obviously committed some kind of a crime. Now, speaking of crime, hey, I told you we were going to go down some of our familiar paths here in the criminal realm that we often discuss at the outset of the program. CPD last night arrested someone just after 11 p.m. No, excuse me. He was arrested a couple hours later. The crime occurred around 11 p.m. in the 1500 block of North High, so campus area. Guy called 911, said, I'm walking to my car in a parking lot. He's approached by a male with a gun, demanded the keys to the store that the victim came out of, went back in the store with the gun and started taking stuff from behind the counter. Then he left. The thief, the robber, the armed robber. Police thought they had, in an unrelated matter, found a stolen car a little bit later on in the night near Cleveland Avenue and 11th Avenue. Guess what? It was the guy who committed the robbery in the campus area. And guess what? He's 15 years old. 15 years old. So there you go. You don't prosecute them for stealing cars. Then they escalate to guns. They escalate to robbery. And thankfully, nobody got hurt. That's not the case with the little boy in Linden who was mauled by 2 pit bulls on Sunday, of course. Turns out the owner of those pit bulls has a 3rd pit bull and had been warned before about the danger of his dogs and had fought the Franklin County dog warden on the designation of his dogs as dangerous, even though they had jumped a fence and had attacked 2 other dogs and terrorized their neighborhood. Officers shot one of the dogs and killed it. On Sunday, the other was euthanized after it was also shot. But this owner of these pit bulls had faced charges last year, and he fought the charges. He fought the designation of his dogs after they'd already proven themselves to be dangerous. Now we have a little boy who's probably disfigured. His face and neck were mauled by these dogs. And so we've had, what, a 73-year-old woman south of Columbus killed by 2 pit bulls this year. The mother and the son, whose pit bulls they were, face criminal charges for that. This is depressing to me. The owner of these dogs faces only misdemeanor charges. If you keep dangerous dogs and you can't confine them, you should be in a lot of trouble.
Clouds a shower in the area. High today, 44. Cloudy this evening, a shower in spots early, then partly cloudy skies late tonight with a low of 28. A partly sunny day tomorrow, the high at 43. Clear skies tomorrow evening with the low at 28. And then sunny and mild Sunday, the high 52. Sunshine, nice day on Monday, the high at 59. We'll warm it up Tuesday, partly sunny, breezy, and the high Tuesday at 70. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Here's great news. If you plan on attending Ohio Christian University as a new traditional student this fall semester at the Circleville campus, you can receive a $5,000 scholarship for only $2,500. That's right, get a $5,000 scholarship for only $2,500. One scholarship per student, and all Ohio Christian University admission requirements must be met. Learn more at 989theanswer.com. or call RMAT at 614-216-5049.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live. Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hi, it's Bruce Hooley with exciting news about the newest product from MyPillow. Now, for years, customers have been asking if MyPillow sells the cross necklaces like the one Mike Lindell proudly wears every day.
So they're excited to announce that Mike has partnered with a jeweler right here in the USA to create a beautiful sterling silver cross. My Crosses. Yes, you can save 30% today by using my promo code Bruce at mypillow.com. Just click on the radio podcast square and use my promo code Bruce at mypillow.com to get this latest product, My Cross. You can choose from the men's or the women's style. The My Cross for women has a more delicate look and is reversible with mother of pearl styled translucent white enamel on one side and onyx styled black enamel on the other. The My Cross for men has a slightly larger cross with onyx styled black enamel and a slightly longer, thicker chain. Now, this amazing offer won't last long, so order now at mypillow.com. Use my promo code Bruce, mypillow.com, promo code Bruce.
I hope you have marked it on your calendar, Friday, April the 25th. You'll be all done with taxes and you'll be ready for summer. And what better way to celebrate the end of taxes and the start of summer than to get together with other 98.9 listeners and with the great Larry Elder, the sage of South Central LA, the man who populates the airwaves here on our station and others across the country from 6 to 9 p.m. every night. Larry Elder is coming to you. Well, I mean, provided you meet him at Der Dutchman Restaurant in Plain City for a delicious buffet and an evening of great conservative talk. I'll be on stage with Larry, as will our own Jack Windsor, host of the Windsor Report, 5 to 6 p.m., sparing you bad afternoon radio here in Columbus, Monday through Friday. Your price for your ticket does include a sumptuous Der Dutchman buffet and an evening of awesome conservative talk and fun with friends. So order your tickets and get them now at 989theanswer.com. Looking forward to seeing my friend Josh Pick of Aptus Wealth Management tonight for the Aptus Retirement Blueprint radio show. No doubt we will be talking about the federal jobs report that came out today. 151,000 jobs added in February. I'm told that's below expectations, but there might be a reason for that. Because in February, the 151,000 jobs included 10,000 fewer government jobs than were added in the final month of Joe Biden's presidency. Here's Stephen Moore, economic advisor to the White House, talking about the fact that under Biden, the jobs numbers that were always overstated and had to be corrected and were moved down, 800,000 at one point when they did an actual accounting. That Biden's jobs were always in the healthcare industry and in government. Stephen Moore says the days of growing government to fool people into thinking that the economy is growing, those days are over. Tell us about it, Stephen Moore.
Best thing in that report was finally, after 4 years of the biggest government hiring spree in history, practically under Joe Biden. I mean, his idea of growing the economy was growing government. And so we're finally seeing Donald Trump reverse that. I was happy. I wish it had been 50,000 fewer federal employees. I mean, we got 2 million of them, and we don't need that many government employees making rules. And, you know, Trump, remember, Trump was the one who promised he was going to drain the swamp of Washington, D.C., and it is a swamp. So that is good news.
Yeah, that is good news. Here at home, Tiara Ross has a government job. She is an assistant city attorney. She would like a second government job. She would like to be on Columbus City Council. And there are, according to Jordan Laird of the Columbus Dispatch, powerful people in the city of Columbus who want to see Tiara Ross elected to city council. One of those powerful people is himself on Columbus City Council, as in fact, the president of Columbus City Council, Shannon Hardin. And he wants Tiara Ross on Columbus City Council, not because she's super qualified, but because she is running in a primary where she is the only black woman. And Shannon Hardin says he wants a black woman to fill the seat of Shayla Favor, whose seat it is. And Shayla Favor is not on city council anymore because she is the city prosecutor. So we have to replace a black woman, Democratic Party now, remember, whole thing at their DNC convention about our rules are if you have a non-binary, two-spirit, this or that, and you have to elect okay. So Shayla Favor moving up to become the city prosecutor, where she can go after, not criminals, she'll go after Columbus cops. We got to replace her with a black woman. There is a problem. Or at least I think it's a problem. I'm not sure if voters in Columbus will think it's a problem. Maybe her intersectionality bona fides, Tiara Ross's, as an assistant city attorney and black woman. Maybe I transposed those. Maybe I should have put black woman first, since that seems to be her chief qualification. You know what her chief qualification isn't? Honesty and integrity and character. Because Jordan Laird also reports that Tiara Ross has had her driver's license suspended multiple times and had scads of outstanding city parking tickets, which, because now people are paying attention to it, now that she's running for office, she has paid to the tune of almost $4,000. She was called out at a recent candidate forum by a local blogger, Good Work, Donald J. Burns, who publicized the fact that Ross's driver's license was under suspension at the time, which she said she was unaware of, and also that she owed $3,800 in city parking tickets. Well, Jordan Laird of the Dispatch says he confirmed this with the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles, and that her license had been suspended since the fall of 2023. So she's an assistant city attorney pulling down $145,000 a year, and she's unaware that she spent more than a year driving illegally in Columbus after the suspension of her license. I've never had my license suspended. I presume that if it were, I would be notified by mail or in some other fashion. Ross, who's 37 years old, and don't forget, a black woman, had racked up 60 Columbus parking tickets since 2019, most of them around the courthouse complex downtown. Now, Tiara Ross contends that it's impossible to find parking downtown. Don't they have parking garages? I think they do. She says they're always full when she comes to work, which to me would mean you're late a lot. I mean, parking garages are there, and they fill up during the day. I suppose if you're coming in at 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning, well, maybe there aren't any spots. I don't know. Her most recent license suspension, Jordan Laird reports, was not her first. She forfeited her driver's license 4 other times when she was in her early 20s, including once because she had a 12-point suspension, meaning she had 12 points on her record. What do you get, 2 points for running a stop sign? 2 points for speeding ticket? She had 12. So she lost it. Here's her defense. She says, I work at the courthouse, which means I'm parking at a meter probably 70% of the time. I'm jumping from meeting to meeting. I pay my parking. I just don't pull up and not pay for parking. Apparently you do. 60 times you've been ticketed. Oftentimes I'm caught in a hearing, or the hearing goes over, the meeting goes over. If I get to the courthouse at a certain time, the garages are full, and I'm only left with that meter option. Life is tough when you're on the city payroll and you're making $146,000 a year. So there we go. City of Columbus, will that mean anything to voters? Probably not. Probably not. She'll probably get elected to city council. She'll probably be Shayla Favor's replacement, because if the results of past elections have shown us anything, it is what? Number one, you have to be a Democrat to get elected in Columbus. If you're running for judge, you have to change your political affiliation from Republican to Democrat in order to get elected. And if you are running for any city office and people like Shannon Hardin endorse you and play up as your chief qualification the fact that you are black, not that you are a really smart attorney or somebody who can obey the law or somebody who has integrity or somebody who complies with the laws that you would like to make to foist on the rest of the public that you theoretically serve, well, then you're going to get elected. So I wouldn't bet against her, but I also wouldn't want to bet against her doing all this again once she is elected.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason.
President Trump is reaching out to Iran, looking to negotiate a nuclear deal. Mr. Trump tells Fox Business he has sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader. American employers grew their payrolls by 151,000 jobs last month. The Labor Department says the unemployment rate rose 1/10 of a point, hitting 4.1%. Ahead of next week's Saudi-hosted talks ending the war in Ukraine, President Trump says neither Ukraine nor Russia can afford to continue with the bloodshed. The president is pausing for 1 month his 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. This is the second such delay since he first unveiled the import taxes early last month. And watching Wall Street this morning, stocks are lower. The Dow is down about 115 points. The Nasdaq off 90. The S&P 26 points in the red. More details, srnnews.com.
3 years ago, I wrapped up a run of Annie playing Daddy Warbucks with the South Carolina Children's Theater. I was about 40, 50 pounds overweight, tired, sick, fed up with the way I felt. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I had to do something. I scheduled my weight loss consultation with PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. And as they say, the rest is history. Just a few months, I lost over 50 pounds. I took control of my health. 3 years later, I kept the weight off and I feel better than ever. If you are where I was, do what I did. Call PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. It'll change your life. It's fast and simple. They won't let you fail. Just give them a call at 855-696-2020 to schedule your weight loss consultation. That's 855-696-2020. 855-696-2020. Here's the best part. First 11 callers who mention the keyword healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Don't wait. Call today. 855-696-2020. Mention healthy to get 2 free weeks. Or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. MyPhD.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM. The Answer. Anywhere you go. The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. The House Judiciary Committee just held hearings on so-called sanctuary cities, bringing in various mayors trying to justify their policies. I say so-called sanctuary cities because that is the Orwellian term for what should be called nullification cities. These mayors are nullifying federal law. Liberals used to oppose such doctrines in the name of protecting all of our civil rights. Recall Martin Luther King Jr. specifically denouncing Alabama Governor George Wallace in his I Have a Dream speech for exactly this. In our Republican form of government, localities don't get to veto federal law, not on behalf of racial segregation and not on behalf of the illegal immigrants thwarting the law. James Madison called this effort a fatal inlet of anarchy. Mayors deciding which federal laws to enforce and which to stymie is just that, anarchy. If they don't like the federal law, their duty is to try and change it, not stand in the way of enforcing it. These mayors are not heroes, they are anarchists, proving to be little more than a law unto themselves.
Winter is here, and if your home's heating system is on its last leg, don't wait any longer to replace that tired old furnace. Get a high-efficiency Goodman furnace from Temperature Pro for just $2,000 from the Discount Shopping Club. Regular price is $4,000. Temperature Pro is a leader in both commercial and residential HVAC systems. Now, this one's guaranteed to go quickly, so check out this great deal at 989theanswer.com.
Today's America is full of glow-beaming pundits who speak with emotion. That's why you need to listen to The Larry Elder Show. Larry is a lawyer, writer, and media personality who speaks truth with facts. The Larry Elder Show, weekday evenings from 8 to 11 on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Discount Shopping Club, 989theanswer.com, a place where you can go. And we still have one of the Temperature Pro furnaces available. One of them's gone, so you should go and check it out. Maybe you have a home that would be ideal for that Temperature Pro furnace. You'd like to get it in right now because, hey, we're supposed to get one more blast, I think, of cold weather, and you don't want to be freezing in your own house, and you don't want to have to deal with this next fall when prices, no doubt, will probably be higher because that's what prices tend to do. Also, great option for you if you want your child to go to college and not come back as a different kid with wild and crazy ideas pounded into their heads by woke liberal professors. I would highly suggest you take advantage of the discount tuition offer from Ohio Christian University. You spend $2,500, you get $5,000 off an OCU scholarship. OCU, a fantastic school in Circleville. Check out all the discount shopping deals at 989theanswer.com. Well, the guy who was hiding in the bushes at Trump's Mar-a-Lago Golf Club is in court today. Ryan Ruth, he had 17 cell phones. 17? How do you carry 17 cell phones? Anyway, he was hiding in the bushes. An FBI agent found him. We still don't know a whole lot about the Butler, Pennsylvania shooter whose body was cremated. That's very suspicious. We don't know if he was affiliated with anybody else. Here's Peter Doocy asking Donald Trump yesterday at the White House about the assassination attempts and whether Trump's Secret Service under Sean Curran or the DOJ under Pam Bondi, FBI under Kash Patel, if he's gotten any further clarity on those assassination attempts on his life.
It's been 7 months. Why do you think we don't know more about the guy who shot you?
I want to find the answers. I told them. In fact, today I said, I want to find, we can no longer blame Biden for that one. He should have released that a long time ago.
Yeah, we didn't get much information on the kid in Butler, Pennsylvania. This guy at Mar-a-Lago, Ruth, is just a kook. And he went to Ukraine, and he deems himself a patriot. And you don't lie in wait to shoot an American president if you are a patriot. Now, somebody else who's trying to portray themselves as something they are not is California hair gel Gavin Newsom. I told you yesterday he appeared on a podcast with his own podcast. I will call his podcast not Newsom, which is what he calls it. I will call it Gavin in the Middle. That's what I will call it. As this is clearly an effort by Gavin Newsom to portray himself as embraceable to voters who are fed up with woke leftist liberal policies in California that have turned that state into a woke hellhole, also known as Gavin Newsom policies, and voters on the right who can't embrace Donald Trump. This is what Gavin Newsom is trying to do. This is what he has said on this podcast with Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, host here on Salem. Charlie Kirk pressing Gavin Newsom on men playing girl sports. And Charlie Kirk is trying to get Gavin Newsom to take a stand on the right side of this issue, the side of the issue that 80% of Americans, by the way, hold, which is that men should not be playing women's sports and men should not be in women's locker rooms. And it was reported yesterday, and I think I even said this, that Gavin Newsom took a position